the energy that's coming up, certainly for me, with this dance of the planet of dreaming, which is Neptune, and the planet of making things real, which is Saturn, coming together to make demands of us in a way. Saturn demands that commitment, and I think it's really we have a number of people today who have brought up the energy of denial and avoiding. That was certainly one for me. My invisibility is avoiding being seen. And so the avoiding piece is something that the planet Saturn, which is that planet of commitment, of making things real, of making things concrete, of taking all the steps, not skipping any steps. It's really asking us to come forward. And I love this idea of engaging with what I call the sacred start, your sacred start for your day. And many of us have very busy lives. But one of the ways that we can set the tone for each day is with a sacred start. And that is going to look very different for each one of us. So I'd like to invite you to enter into a bit of a journey with me just for a couple of minutes. I'm just going to put time as we do this. Yeah, so just for a couple of minutes. And so finding a comfortable spot for yourself, maybe placing a hand on your heart, because any sacred start of our day requires heart connection. One of the things that we did together energetically at the start of the circle is we brought our collective heart field into a state of suppleness. So I put that in the chat notes so you would know that. So bringing our heart field into suppleness. What does suppleness mean? It means flexibility, a lack of rigidity. So all of these cardinal energies, these leadership energies that we're playing in and playing with right now, the Gemini energy, the Aries energy, the Cancer energy that we're playing with right now, these are energies that are calling us to be leaders, to be pioneers. But without suppleness, without flexibility, without our capacity to be peaceful with our leadership, to move forward with our heart open and our minds open, we're not going to have the kind of success that we want, that we desire. So leadership really asks for that flexibility. So let's just feel into that for a moment as we place the hand on the heart and just sit back in your seat. If you have something that's a seat that's really supporting you, I've got a nice pillow in behind me right now, just fluffing it to allow my back to feel supported. That's that Cancer energy, right? Feel supported, feel comfortable. One of our inner wisdom leaders in the month of May said, comfort is queen. I love that. This is the time as Venus is in Taurus and Jupiter is making its dance into Cancer. This is a time of comfort. We talked a little bit about getting out of our comfort zone and the challenges we might find around that. But that doesn't mean not being comfortable. And certainly our ability to work with our discomfort is related directly with our capacity to receive comfort, to comfort ourselves, to be okay with discomfort. We don't want to live in discomfort. We don't want that. But it is necessary. And in order to work with discomfort, in order to be okay with discomfort, we need to have that support. We need to have that flexibility, that capacity to shift perspective, that inner easefulness. So we can just be okay with the prickliness. And that relates to how it is that we might be avoiding or we might be denying. or we might not be allowing the fullness of our creativity to come forward. And now's the time for that. We've got several months for that, but we're at the beginning. We want to set the tone. And so that's why we introduce this idea of the sacred start. So as we sink into our bodies, into our hearts, as we notice the breath moving in and out of the body, the miracle of breath that brings the prana, that life force energy into the body without question. We don't need to grasp for breath. All we need to do is allow the breath to enter us. And with it comes that life force energy. We light up our lungs, our organs, our cells. We light it up with prana, with life force energy, with every breath. It's just there. It's just available to us. Free for the receiving. And so rather than avoiding and denying, pushing away, or hiding your light, hiding behind that comfortable place, that time of just kind of, oh, I'll just procrastinate in this moment. I'll just let that go. I'll just, yeah, I'm not going to push for that. That's okay. That's whatever. It's okay. And there are moments when just taking it easy is important. When not doing has enormous value. And it's in those moments of not doing that we can really find our place and sense of what our next step is. So we don't have to avoid, because the reality is that when we deny and avoid, that's because we haven't really addressed those deeper needs. And as Jupiter slides into Cancer with that opportunity to ask ourselves, what do I really need in this moment? That's not about taking action. It's about acknowledging, really being present. And that might be uncomfortable. That might be prickly. There might be something uncomfortable that needs to come to the surface. And so you're being called to be a leader for yourself right now. To really be true to your heart and what your heart needs. To be safe. To feel stable. To feel secure. And most of all, to feel authentic, to be real to you. This is what this cardinal energy is calling you to do, not necessarily to take action, though there will be action involved. But in this moment, to be willing to hold your discomfort or that prickliness or those things that you've been avoiding or pushing away or hiding from. To allow those to come to the surface, to be healed. And to see the opportunity of that for yourself. And so setting the tone for your day with this sacred start opens the realm of possibility, opens the door, opens the window. It's an internal yes, where you're protecting your sacred time. Sacred start means what is sacred for you, not some religious story, though it could be, not somebody else's idea of what is sacred, though it could be. But does it feel sacred for you? Doesn't have to be long, it can be. We have some people in our membership who I know take a minimum of 60 to 90 minutes every morning for their sacred start. That's a big commitment. My sacred start takes different times depending on the day, but I always allow myself a few minutes. I always give that to myself as a gift. And when I don't, it doesn't feel good to me. So this time is reminding me to not skip steps, to not say, yeah, I'll do it later, to not do it in my head as I move from one thing to another, but to actually do the thing, to sit, to allow. It doesn't have to be complicated. It can be as simple as sitting with your cup of tea or coffee in the morning and looking out your window, or listening to beautiful music, or taking a few extra breaths, or just closing your eyes and feeling how your body feels in that moment, and really noticing that beverage as it enters your body and how it's supporting you and nurturing you. There's that Cancerian energy that you're inviting in. There's that Venus in Taurus that you're inviting in: simplicity, beauty, sacredness. Be the leader of your own sacred start. Set your intention. Take whatever small or large, short or long action that works for you, and feel into how your body receives that, how your body soaks in that sacredness. And if you try something for a little while and it's kind of meh, move on. That's okay. There are no right answers here. There's no perfection here. The only perfection is your experience, because your experience of whatever you offer to yourself is perfect in and of itself, just because you're you. And you've taken the time to protect that sacredness in that moment. So let's take a few seconds here, maybe a minute, to just sit with that energy of what that sacred start feels like for you. What do you feel you can commit to? 60 seconds? 5 minutes? 20 minutes? An hour? It's not about what you think. It's really about what you feel, what feels right for you. And then protecting that and allowing that and receiving that fully into your heart. Let's just sit with our beautiful suppleness, our heart field that allows us to be flexible for ourselves, to hold space for those moments of prickliness or discomfort when we're feeling frustrated with ourselves or our life situation, when we're feeling upset, hopeless, angry, irritable. Whatever it is for you that comes up, we all have those moments. They're uncomfortable, and that's okay. Just sitting with that and allowing the energy of your sacred start to set the tone so that you can hold a sacred space for yourself as you heal in each moment that arises for you.